Good afternoon, everybody. It's David Schlotthauer here in the home weather office for Monday, January the 8th, 2024. In today's video, we have a lot to digest because we have more big winter storms that are coming. We have blizzard conditions, a civil emergency that has been issued. This is not a good situation to be in at all. So in today's video, we will be breaking down all those details on what you need to know. So here's a look at the latest European model for this afternoon, January the 8th, 2024. And of course, our winter storm that is absolutely destructive right now. We have heavy snowfall. We have strong winds gusting over 70 miles an hour in some areas. And then, of course, down here, we have the potential for some big-time severe weather and some heavy rainfall into the overnight hours. So let's go forward in time here because this weather pattern is only going to get more active as we go over the next few days. In fact, it's probably going to get even more dangerous than what you're seeing already. So brace yourself. So by the time we go into tomorrow early afternoon, January the 9th, we have a pretty big weather system. This is the one that we're tracking right now that's going to lead to storm warnings. We have blizzard warnings. We have winter storm warnings. We just have a bit of everything. And we'll be showing you the weather alerts map here in just a little bit because I've never seen it this active. I mean, this is really ironic to see. So big time storm, flooding concerns, big time severe weather, strong tornadoes, possibly a severe weather outbreak for tomorrow into the day on Tuesday. And then of course, we could be looking at damaging 75 plus mile an hour winds too with these storms. So keep that in mind. This is a very impactful system. And then, of course, on its heels, we have another winter storm that's going to be impacting the Pacific Northwest for your Tuesday. Very heavy snowfall for the Intermountain West here of the Cascades of Washington, Oregon, Idaho, if you're in Montana, Northern California. This is a very big system by all means, so it's just kind of Midwest to Pacific Northwest with storm after storm after storm, and it's not going to let up anymore or anytime soon because that's going to slide into California as the Northeast is getting impacted here on Wednesday, the 10th of January. And then after that goes by, the weather pattern should get a little bit calmer before it ramps back up again. So we can see quieter weather, but a lot of people will probably be repairing from a lot of the damage and destruction that this winter storm is bringing. So keep that in mind. And then, of course, if you're in the Pacific Northwest, more snow is on the way. And this is for Friday. So by Friday afternoon or Friday morning here on the 12th of January, this is our next storm system that we are really watching closely. The GFS and the Canadian models have been very bullish on this one, particularly getting exceptionally deep. And I will show you some of the past runs here on the GFS in a little bit. The Euro is not very aggressive, as it always is. It's more kind of a generous model. But on the GFS, I'll show you that. Very aggressive because, yeah, this one shows quite a bit of snowfall for the Great Lakes region. So this includes for Detroit, for Kokomo, Indiana, if you're in the Pennsylvania area, if you're in, say, Illinois, Michigan, if you're in Buffalo, New York, Watertown, New York, yeah, this is going to be knocking on the door with a third system. Just keeps on coming, right? These storms are lined up out there in Washington. I'm going to get that intense snowfall with more intense rainfall for California. So good news there for a lot of us that need the snowpack up in the higher elevations. And then there is that third system, maybe another ice storm, potentially a big snow producer. We will have to see on how this pans out because there has been some subtle changes among the models. If we look at the 0Z, this is a little later. And then, of course, you can see just in the last couple of runs, the European has been going very aggressive and bullish with this one. And this is at a very low latitude, so more residents could be at stake here with more big impacts. When looking at the American GFS model, we can see big-time snowstorm that we just talked about there. The first one, or the second one, because we had one a couple of days ago for the Northeast. So here comes storm number 2, moving through the region. You can see big time snowfall over the Great Lakes, right? Big time severe weather for the southeast. And then fast forwarding it, remember the Pacific Northwest going to have a lot of storms to contend with, all right, over the next few days. And then, of course, here comes that storm system that the GFS has been indicating. And I'll tell you what, we look at yesterday's, I think it's yesterday's 12Z run, or was it the 18Z run? Maybe it was the 12Z run, going very ballistic with it. Actually, it was this run. Yes, it was. This is the run that that it showed last night. 0Z going exceptional with this one. This actually happened. If we look at the ISO bars, look how tight those are. And yes, this is for you, Ethan, boy. You'd be getting one of the worst winter storms, probably then Winter Storm Elliott, if this comes to pass. So we really got to keep an eye on this one. Not saying that it's going to happen now. I don't think it's going to be this bad of what the GFS is showing, because in future model runs, it has not really trending down, actually. So it's pretty similar. So we really have to watch that, because that's a 970 millibar system over Indiana, then into the Ohio Valley, then down to eventually to 969 millibars over New York. So that's going to be our next system that everyone's going to be concerned about, because that system could generate or will generate blizzard conditions. That's actually 5 days out, 4 days out. So yeah, I'm very concerned about this one. This one has the potential of causing a lot of problems. And then that moves out, and then maybe another system, the Euro and the GFS on board with this one for the Midwest. Ice storms, heavy snowfall. This is for next week early on January the 15th because of that Arctic air mass, and then that will roll through. Then hopefully after that, the pattern will settle down a little bit more. Snowfall totals are very alarming. Check this out. The first system going to bring in quite a bit, right? Probably an additional foot or so is expected out of this, especially for northern Missouri, southern Iowa, as well as central Illinois. All right, but adding on to this, we're going to have another storm system kind of rolling on through, right? So that's going to add to more snowfall totals with the second system. So 2 storms combined, you could be looking at 2 to 3 feet of snowfall from Missouri into Illinois, as well as Michigan, northern Indiana, northern Ohio. This is not very good. This is not a good thing to see at all. For people that are snow lovers that like this stuff, yeah, this is right up your sleeve. But people that don't like it, you're not going to like the forecast, I guess, in the next 4 to 6 days, because you're just going to get more snow. The temperatures are going to get much colder, possibly some record-setting Arctic air in the wake of these storms, and that's going to spell a disaster. And then, of course, if you are in the Northeast, you could be looking at more additional snow. But that's not it. There's more. Look at this. Snowfall totals in the next 7 to 8 days are pretty significant. Further south here especially, maybe a couple of feet in northern portion there of, say, Arkansas. But each model is going to be different, but been very consistent down here with how much snowfall you might end up seeing. One of the models before was showing northern Arkansas maybe 3 to 4 feet of snowfall. In today's run, much lesser, but still. Midwest snow during an El Nino, you don't expect that very much. You really don't. You expect the opposite, but in this case, you're getting it, and it looks very significant. The Intermountain West going to also get quite a bit of snowfall, especially for the Cascades, for Idaho, for Montana. Could see anywhere between 8 to 10 feet of snowfall over the next 7 to 10 days. So a foot a day on average. That's going to pile up very quickly. So get ready to get shoveling, because you're going to need to do so with all of the snow that is anticipated in the Pacific Northwest and also for the Intermountain West. The European model is also pretty aggressive, but not like the GFS model, as you can see here. Still quite a bit of snow, even as far south here as northern Louisiana, northern Mississippi, Alabama, and say Arkansas. Yeah, we got it. We are going to have to be making videos every day on this, as this remains a big threat, including for the Pacific Northwest and the Intermountain West. Going to see more additional snow to come, maybe a couple of feet there over Michigan. Rainfall totals over the Pacific Northwest look pretty concerning on the national blend of models. This is basically the super blend. All right, so it's all of the global models, all of the high resolution models, all put together to make an average forecast. And this is what it's showing. Quite a bit of rainfall over northernmost California, over Oregon, Washington. Some of the higher elevations or the lower elevations could get anywhere between 6 to 8 inches of rainfall. But if you compete this with snowfall, the total quantitative precipitation amounts anywhere between 15 to almost 18 inches of rain, or QPFs, over the higher elevations of Oregon and Washington, the Cascades, including for the Coastal Range Mountains, and of course down here across the southeast and the deep south, where it's not going to be snowing very much, where it's all going to be in the form of rain. You might see anywhere between about 3 to 5 inches of additional precipitation. The winds are going to be a big deal with these storms, of course. You can see if we forward this right now, let's go forward. Definitely some gusty winds in the right front quadrant over the southeast. There's high wind warnings, wind advisories. You could be seeing winds anywhere between 30 to 50 miles an hour perhaps. And then look at this. On the GFS model, definitely some big time winds. This is in accordance to the latest NAM model that also indicates that there is going to be some very, very intense winds, potentially gusting well in excess there of perhaps 80 to almost 90 miles an hour. In fact, if we do focus on the Northeast really quick, yeah, look at those wind gusts. This is... This is bad. This is not a good situation that you want to be in. Definitely power outages, high surf, coastal flooding, coastal impacts for sure as this front rolls through. And it might even intensify a little bit more. Maybe even 100-mile-an-hour wind gusts here along the coast there of Maine, which would be very, very significant. And then eventually into Nova Scotia, later on in the period, could see some damaging hurricane force winds. Almost like a hurricane out there, only this is a frontal boundary that you're all dealing with. But then, of course, for next week, there could be even more winds to be expected as, again, that system really intensifies. In fact, if we go and take a look at that really quickly, you can see another round of winds. But if we looked at the 0Z run from last night, it's even a little stronger. Look at that, almost 50 knot winds over portions of Indiana and the Northeast. That is definitely something that we're not going to ignore in future updates. Now, another thing we really got to watch and be very concerned about is these temperatures. I'm talking seriously cold temperatures, folks, in the northern plains across much of the Midwest. Wait until you see these actual air temperatures, and then we're going to look at the wind chill forecast, because that's going to be the thing that's going to cause wind chill warnings, wind chill advisories too. So it's not just the heavy snow, strong winds, and severe weather that you will be dealing with. You'll also be dealing with some of the coldest temperatures in January in quite some time. So of course, it starts getting cold on Friday. So in a few days here, you're going to see temperatures drop down into the single digits, some negative temperatures up there. But it's not until, look at this, until Saturday morning, some areas in Montana, negative 60 degrees perhaps. That would be all-time record low temperatures. In fact, temperatures there would be almost 80 degrees below average. Yeah, 80 degrees below average. Below climatology, that is, I mean, you don't see that very often, okay? And then guess what? It really surges southward. Temperatures, negative 20, negative 30 degrees, negative 40 perhaps for Sunday morning. And then it's going to be even worse. Look at this. Everyone down here in the Midwest and the high plains could have temperatures at or below negative 0, negative 5 degrees. Some areas there in Montana still negative 40 at night. This combined with some gusty winds could yield some wind chill factors of negative, say, negative 35 to negative 50 degrees. Perhaps up here in Montana, if we back it out just a little bit, you might see wind chill values negative 80 degrees perhaps. So that's going to yield wind chill warnings for sure. That's deadly. You do not want to be outside in that. Even if you wear some of the heaviest coats, I mean like wolf sweatshirts or whatever you want to think of, packing in layers, you're going to really have to experiment because temperatures are going to be so cold, you just cannot survive outside at all much in that. So big time Arctic air is coming in the next 5 days, and you all need to take this seriously. Now, when we take a look at the National Weather Service map here, latest alerts and advisories, this is very, I mean, you don't see this very often, okay? Anything that I mark down is a state that is completely covered with weather alerts. So we have all of Texas, all of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, the Carolinas, let's see here, Virginia, almost all of New York, all of Maine, all of, say, if you are in Massachusetts, Connecticut, I mean, I could count here, there's probably over 12 or 13 states that are under completely smothered here with weather alerts. We got a blizzard warning here in red. We have a civil emergency, that one county there in Oklahoma under a civil emergency because of wind gusts over 80 to 90 miles an hour combined with heavy snow, blizzard conditions, visibilities down to feet perhaps. And then up here we have winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories. I mean, this is your active weather pattern that we've been looking forward to, including for the Pacific Northwest under high wind warnings, winter storm warnings, blizzard warnings, coastal flood warnings, flood advisories. I mean, what? I mean, this is just ridiculous. Only one state on this map is not under anything, and that remains to be South Dakota or North Dakota. No weather alert issued there at all. Not one alert. While every single state here is under some kind of weather alert at this time. Okay, so definitely some hyperactive weather, active weather coming through the area to start off January. And you know what that means? I might be live streaming tomorrow on this severe weather event, along to go with just taking a look at other areas too, because yeah, you all are going to get some pretty intense rainfall, flood concerns. It's not just the severe weather, but it's going to be the winds, it's going to be the heavy rainfall, and again, of course, up here, additional intense snowfall that is anticipated. And yes, we do have people that live up here. Jay Zord's weather, if you Salty Mexican 219, Suzette rides in, you live up there in northern Michigan. If you're anyone that I have had on a location here, yeah, you all are going to get impacted by these storms, and that's why I am concerned about with what is going to be what's going to be happening, So there is an enhanced risk for severe weather for New Orleans. This is driven by a 10 Sig 4 tornado. So we are talking about strong tornadoes tomorrow, damaging winds. Or wait, today. This is today. Yeah, this is today. Sorry. I won't be streaming today, but tomorrow I will be because today I have work. And then we have a 30% Sig for some strong winds, or damaging winds, that is, and then a 15% non-sig for large hail, so big time hail, and there are already hail reports out of this. Day 2, there's in the enhanced risk. That's what I'm going to be streaming on because that is a much bigger area, along to go with a 30 sig for wind and a 5% for hail, so mainly a wind and strong tornado day for the southeast for tomorrow. And that's what I'm planning on doing tomorrow, is to live stream this, because we're going to have some serious winds for the northeast that we are also going to have to look at in real-time observations as well. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so, because this is your opportunity to see what I do on my channel as far as live streaming goes on these winter storms. We also do live streams on severe weather, and we also do live streams on hurricanes. This upcoming hurricane season looks to be extremely serious because we have a La Nina that's developing. And so if you haven't subscribed yet, I would highly recommend doing so right now. We are less than 2,000 subs away from 20,000, folks. You guys are awesome, and I do appreciate all the support and everything like that. But I also love you guys a lot, because if it's not for you, I wouldn't be here updating you all. Because yes, we do have someone that lives somewhere here in the United States. And that somewhere is where you live. In the blizzard, winter storm warning, so be it. All right. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll be back with you more tomorrow in the home weather office.